Greetings, warlords. Rodge here. Welcome to Saga Thursday, the show all about the skirmish miniatures game from Studio Tomahawk. I'm joined by Big Scott today. Scott, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Excellent. We are going to be chatting about your event of great success, whatever you're going to call it. You're the winner for Age of Crusades at Adepticon. So that ended up being the biggest event by one or two. So that was quite an accomplishment, my man.
Yeah. Lots of Crusaders.
Yeah, it's Crusades, Vikings show up wholesale at Age of Vikings at A-Con. Not this year, but pretty much every other year. And so, we haven't done Crusades for over at least 5 years at Adepticon. So it missed out a few times, COVID in there. So a lot of people, I think, had to build factions or forces for the first time. And, if you're just a newbie coming in, the Crusaders in Crusades, it's got to be a good place to start, right?
Oh, lots of options too. So
yeah, and you can do it a few different ways. So we split out, looked like a pretty even split between the Baltics and Levantines. So what did you end up bringing to Adepticon?
I brought the same list that I brought to Fimbulwinter.
Yeah.
So and it was kind of just an extension of what me and Tom did for doubles at Adepticon the year before. I had 4 points painted up for that, so I just painted up like another 4 points, so I had options. I think I have like 9 points overall.
Cool.
So definitely running 3 units of pilgrims and then 3 units of warriors, no Hearthguard at all. And
so how were the units split up? Were the pilgrims always 12 packs? So just
depended on
3?
The game, actually the first one, I think I might have done 9.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a couple smaller packs. I think I might have just because of the because the first game was heavy load.
Sure. And then the warriors, were they mounted, foot, or bows, or
I don't think I ran a mounted. I think I might have ran a mounted in the second game, and that was it.
Okay. Would they just be sword and board or bows?
Sword and board. Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
A couple, 1 unit of crossbows, because that's the max that you could have. I think I ran that in 2 of the games.
Okay. Yeah. So they do things a little different from the Baltic. So, yeah, you were one of the people who had basically Fimbulwinter was 5 games, Age of Crusades. So I had a great practice run. You
definitely, because we didn't have very many practice games going to Fimbulwinter, so Fimbulwinter was the practice.
So you did pretty well there. Yeah. In the end, a winning record. I lost to Trunzo. Adam, which we listened to his interview. So he was at Adepticon Age of Crusades as well, I believe, running an identical list. Stephen Hollowell was there running his mutts. Monty was going to be there, and he was hoping to run his mutts again. So I think that would have been the 4th person. I don't think anybody else came, but did you know Adam was going to be there? Were you?
Oh yeah, talked about it. Pretty much said same list. So
okay.
Plus, I think he has some variations things that he can swap out. So, but yeah, definitely his crossbows were going to be lethal, just as lethal at Fimbulwinter that they've at Adepticon. So
definitely. All right. So this was the one I was actually officiating, so I managed to get a few pictures of the action here, and this is just a pick of the hall we're looking at, but. Game 1, who were you lined up against?
Big Mike C.
Big Mike C. Okay, Adepticon staple. And
yeah, I've only been there. I've only gone to Adepticon 4 years, but yeah, he's been going forever, and that was the first game I've ever had with him, and it was a blast. That was a great time.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He lives. I've been trying to get him to come up to the Wasa events. So
yeah, he was talking about that.
You're in touch, yeah. Just
or Saga Storm, yeah.
Lay that on, yeah. I think he would enjoy those. But so was he running Crusaders?
He was.
Or okay.
Yep.
So
it was.
That's interesting. He actually
Crusaders and then Mutts at the end.
Yeah, he owns Saracens models at least, because him and Farshad ran them in the team tournament last year, so he must have not liked how that turned out, maybe. So switch to Crusaders. So do you have any idea what the scenario was?
Heavy load.
Heavy load. Okay.
Yep.
So there's 3 objectives in the middle. You roll a dice, 1 through 4, I think. They become the ones you capture, pick up, and take away. On a 5 or 6, they stay there till the end of the game. So probably one of them, sometimes 2, sometimes none. How did it end up in your game?
One of them ended up being stuck, and then the other 2 I pulled away. I think I ended the game with having 2. I definitely didn't want to be stuck with him because he had crossbows on his side, and I didn't want to be, stuck trying to hold an objective under anything like that.
Fire!
Yeah. Having flashbacks to Fimbulwinter, fighting Trunzo twice.
So, what was he running as far as the Crusader? Levantine or going Baltic?
I think he was doing Levantine, but he wasn't running Pilgrims.
No Pilgies. Okay. So
I'm not sure.
I guess if you do that, it's kind of like the Baltic board. I'm assuming he had some decent Hearthguard units out there, probably. So did this ended up being all about the objectives and kind of holding and retreating, or was it a straight up fight?
It was a straight up fight. It was one of those games where I rolled so many rares. And that started the day out. Like, my God, I've never rolled that many rares. I would say, and we both kind of agreed that, like, we rolled random at the end to see if we go to turn 6. Mm-hmm. If we would have went to turn 6, the game was kind of turning towards him. So it would have been a draw or a win for him.
Starting to chew through those pilgrims.
He was starting to chew through everything that I had late game. I grabbed the objectives as soon as I could. And then it was just a fight from then on, and I was up on points, but then he just started kind of chipping away at it, and then I'm like,
finding the
roll,
chinks
if we go to
armor.
turn 6, you might pull this off, and nope, it didn't go on turn 6. So,
okay, cool.
I would say a very close game. Very close game.
Oh, glad to hear. It's time. It's always good to gain a game against Mike.
Yeah.
So for round 2, who were you lined up against?
That was Janner.
Janner, okay. Janner Holiday, I believe is the name. So recently signed up for the Patreon. So thanks, Janner. And what was he running?
He was running Crusaders, yeah.
Crusaders. Nice.
I'm not sure. I think he was doing Levantine as well.
Okay, I'm looking at the Levantine Crusaders. Yeah. So was he running some pilgrims this time, though?
I think he had one. Yeah, he had 1 unit of pilgrims.
Okay, it's a little bit of a pilg off. What happened to those pilgrims? Did you?
I think I chewed through most of them. Because the scenario is rule the battlefield. He split his army up, so this was a diagonal. Placement for the scenario.
So diagonal, but table quarters for scoring, right?
I saw that he was splitting it up, and I just went center and kind of pushed out like this, and kind of pushed more one way than the other, just to kind of,
Yeah. So if you take the center, you've got the advantage, and you can easily one unit can assess the situation and be in whichever table quarter you want it to be with a single movement, versus you might be enticed to work the wings and say, well, if I park on the edges, he's going to have to spend resources to come out and mess with them. So maybe they won't even fight, which is a strategy, but those units then are locked into what they can do. They can only ever control 2 versus controlling the center. You just have more options.
Yeah. And he ended up, I believe he was pushing his pilgrims into my bottom left quadrant. And I think pretty much everything he pushed at me just was not working. But that also was another game where, I was rolling so many rares that, I was popping, without fear of being wounded. re-roll your defense dice.
Yeah,
I had the Valiant up several times. I had
makes a
Blessing of the
difference.
Righteous. So it's tough to it's tough to kill pilgrims, armor 3 if only 3 of them die. So
Yeah. So always having the rare kind of gives you a second defensive play.
Yeah.
In addition, or I don't know, maybe a third defensive play. You got there's quite a few different little tools you have there.
It was kind of goofy. Like most of the time when I had something, if I had Blessing of the Righteous up and I would pop it and someone would get 8 hits on me, I would roll 6 saves. So it's like, well, Blessing of the Righteous
just your insurance. Yeah.
It's just one of those days where no matter how I rolled the dice, except for the last game, there was one turn where I think you came by and you chuckled because, and of course,
I've got some photographic evidence of this one going in. So we'll finish this one, then I'll show that. But so how did this battle go? Was it objective based again, or are people trying to push it into a straight fight here?
KG, and then more late game to try to just kind of control and push. And then he was attacking me from one wing and I just could weather it. And I was up on points enough that it was pretty tough to kind of come back from that.
Sure. All right. Well done. Did you get the warlord? Did you kill either of the warlords in the first 2 games?
Did I kill? I'm not even No, I don't think I killed Mike's.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So going into the last round, you were kind of third in the kind of battle score going in. So Steven, I think Steven's a master of killing the enemy warlords. I think.
Oh yeah.
Because he always gets up in every event. He seems to be. He's a little bit ahead of everybody else. If there's a gap,
I'll go for it. Yeah, I don't think in that first game. I think Mike kept him back so far that it just wasn't going to happen.
Yep, you're like me. If there's an opportunity, I'll go for it, but I don't necessarily make the opportunity. And I think Steven was going in with a game plan. So Steven was out maybe 4 or 5 or 6 points ahead of everybody. He was in the first rankings there, so he was number 1. Charles, so from Kansas City as well. He was number 2, like 4 or 5 back. You were 1 point behind him. And then Adam Trunzow was 1 point behind you. So all you guys had 1.
Wow.
But the rankings then should have been Charles and Steven on table 1, and then you and Scott, or you're Scott, you and Adam on table 2. So it could have been a repeat of Fimbulwinter. But normally I don't change anything, but I made the call. So Steven went against you, and then Adam went against Charles. So we split up. They're in the same region. They didn't have to play each other. And then you guys didn't have to have your third tournament game within a month. And so I think I came over and told you guys, and I think it was unanimous that everybody was pleased that I had done that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny. So a little bit of TO's discretion there. So going into this one, you were up against Steven's Mutts, and you ended up going second here. So here's the photographic evidence here. So on your 3 dice, you had a rare in there, and the Without Fear Being Wounded was already loaded up. And on your first turn, rolling your 6, you rolled 4 more rares out of 6. And so, but I think we actually determined that you actually don't want that many rares for the boards. Too many rares maybe in this situation.
I think that whole day I rolled around 30 rares between all 3 games. Like that's
Yeah. So up to a point, you certainly welcome them, but you got these orders abilities. So as long as you, the Peasants Crusade is activation now, right? So it's just Happy Are the Humble. So having those rares is nice because you can pop Happy Are the Humble, hopefully, and then just reload and get some dice back.
Yep.
So whenever I played the 11 Crusader, that was always the issue. Happy Are the Humble seemed to take too many of my dice.
Oh, yeah.
So having extra activations, more stuff, is just more gooder. Now, I think the luck continued throughout here, but how did the early game develop? Because I think later on, Steven felt he had to do some risky things. So were you up early? How did you get up early?
Dice roll is just lucky. I think we were joking later that there was a hot spot on the board where if I kept rolling there, like
Okay.
that example that I gave earlier where, you hit me 8 times and I make 6 saves. I mean, that was happening all day. So definitely luck was on my side.
So this scenario too was pretty much a pitch battle.
Yeah.
It was a little kind of optional objective. I don't think anybody on the top tables ended up using it, but
no.
So it was pretty much just a straight fight. So if you look like you took a big bow unit, so maybe the shooting might have been even. So nobody was completely going defensive.
I mean, I would shoot when I had to, but I honestly wasn't counting, because if I shoot one of his camels, it counts as a levy.
Mm-hmm.
I was just trying to survive.
Okay.
Some of our games, we count late game just to see where we're at, and then the next turn just to kind of. I didn't do any of that. I just tried to just keep weathering, and then I kind of knew I was up when he was coming in hard. To see, because I think he.
So was he aggressive to start with? So it was all him trying to set the tempo, and then you're just kind of just weathering everything.
Weathering, but kind of pushing forward too. Okay. Yeah. I played the Mutts a lot, so I know what I can do.
You're playing probably Monty. Not
playing Monty, playing Mutts myself. So if you're down with the Mutts, you really start to get kind of itchy and kind of going, well, I guess I gotta go.
Yeah, you're like, I mean, more so than other board, just double down. It's like, well, yeah, I gotta make some luck here, so I'll just take myself to armor 2 and just hope the damage I could do outweighs what I'm losing.
And he did, and there was a lot of dice being rolled in the center of the board, him going after everything that I had right in the center, and it just wasn't translating to anything positive for him.
Yeah, so at one point he popped out his 11 bow warriors double activated to get into something, and it might have been even. I think he activated him again into a tiny unit, and you just kick the tar out of it. It's like he eliminated almost his whole unit, and maybe killed half as many guys as he lost in those charges. And then later on, I was popping over, he's trying to make a run on your warlord, and he, if you'd done the sequence a little different, he had two or three units there with different abilities up and kind of hit him 2 or 3 times. Yeah, he's kind of rolling dookie, or you were rolling good, so it didn't work. But maybe if he had done things a little differently, he might have been able to do it. But in the end, he just kind of doubled down, it looked like. Is that kind of what happened?
I mean, you kind of have to. You're at the top, one of the top tables. And with the Mutts, if you're kind of over that, you might as well just go, because you can, with small little units, you can do a lot of damage.
Yeah. So whatever that, there's Bloodbath is always an equalizer up there. And then whatever the one just above Bloodbath, where you can get 6 attack dice, 4 defense, with a rare. That one's nasty. Rerolling. Misses +2. Yeah, there's stuff in there, but run it out of dice and you run it out of bodies. But the potential is still definitely there. Yeah, because I think at one point he just had the Hearthguard left. All his warriors were dead. Yep. Just had camels kind of towing the line.
I mean, I know Monty has camels. I guess I haven't fought him enough with his newest iteration of the Mutts, where he's got camels. And I've run camels, but I completely forgot about camels and terrain and all that.
Yeah, so they're not quite as hindered. So you end up kind of double moving those. Yeah. Your warlord was in the woods, but he was just pushing the camels in, kind of surprising you, but couldn't quite pull it out in the end. Now, on the table next to you, I think maybe you guys knew, or maybe you didn't, but Charles was getting shellacked by Adam over there.
I did not
know. So he had a fairly substantial win. So depending on what happened on this table, Stephen and I drew the following day. So if that had happened in this one, Adam might have jumped over you. But as it turned out, you ended up coming out with a pretty good battle score and a win. So you were top dog for the day. So well done, my man.
Thanks, man. That was a great day. Like, you don't have the Adepticon fatigue yet in that first day. So
yeah, that would have been the day to play that first one. And just scores here, they're kind of blocked off. Here we go. There we can see Scott. He's up at the top of the list there. So yeah, Adam ended up coming in second place, but pretty decent margin there. So it would have needed more than just a few odd dice rolls to make that reversal. Dan Neal in third, and Stephen was in fourth, even with his loss. He ended up being the best sportsman for the day.
He should especially get that after facing three Crusader warbands.
Yeah, somebody was gonna get it.
Yeah.
So the Crusaders, they did all right. Spread all over the board. Best painted was Chris Foreman with his Saracens. Very lovely boys. And yeah, so Adam would be best general as well. So just the two of you. So top table at Thimble Winner ended up being the top two spots in the Crusade. So pretty good to see. And yeah, I guess practice makes you better at games. I think maybe that's the lesson. And roll lots of rares. I mean, is that the other?
Oh, absolutely. Luck was on my side. Yeah, I've never rolled so good in 3 games. Like it just was insane.
Meant to be, my friend. Well done. All right. So, nice work. You went on to run the Hannibal and Alexander the following day. So thanks for being the kind of the floating TO.
Yeah.
We always keep a spot open for Eric Hagen. He's kind of the godfather of Adepticon Saga, but when he's busy, we call you, and you always answer that call. So I really appreciate that, and thanks for stepping up, doing that. Helps to have another guy who knows what he's doing on the crew. So, all right, man. Well, we are done for now, but I'm sure we'll see you again in the future. Scott has verbally agreed on air here to do a Frank's faction review. Is that right?
Yes, I have. Yeah. Okay, I just need to go back to the board, play a few more games. Been a while.
Okay, yeah. So that's the last one for Invasions, and I'm gonna keep pestering Scott about it. We'll get it done eventually, and that'll close out Invasions for the faction reviews. So I appreciate you doing that, Scott. You've already done a couple, and you've done these champion talks. Yep. So you've been in probably 2, 3, or 4 videos at this point. So really appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
I also appreciate Terry, Patrick, Sean, Mitchell, Scott, Frank, Britt, and DJ. And that's Scott. That's you, Scott. As a Saga Thursday patron, wouldn't be doing these additional videos without you guys. And I just want to thank everybody. So we are going to call it here, I guess. So you are on the Discord if people have questions. Do you remember what your username is?
I think it's just Scott XD.
Scott, okay, yeah. So
you find me. I got the crazy Ernest Borgnine face. So
yeah, that's right. Now he's on there. You can comment below if you have questions about his list or games or anything like that. But that is going to be it for this one. All right, Scott. We'll talk to you later, buddy.
Yeah, see you soon, man.
All right, see ya. Bye. Saga! If you'd like to see more Saga content, consider joining the Heathen Army over on Patreon or popping on down to the Saga Thursday Discord server. Links below. Thanks, guys.